Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And oh boy, we have a very special show. So listen, before y'all get yourselves all twisted up in a knot and y'all trying to figure out what's going on, tonight won't be just about basketball as much as it will be about giving my audience a taste of reality. Knowledge with a lot of truth. If you're a truth seeker, if you're someone that loves the truth, tired of being lied to, and want to understand what's going on in the world, this is the show for you. But if not, maybe you can learn something or two. All right? So what we're going to do tonight is go to uncharted territories where the truth is harder to believe when fiction takes over the minds of people. Again, to say this right, we are going on uncharted territory where the truth is harder to believe when the fiction takes over the minds of the people. My next guest is a truth and knowledge seeker, health advocate, spiritual activist, artist, healer, and more. Such a genuine brother. As I do some of the times, because I'm a poster, not a scroller, I ran across this young brother's page, and I was saying, wow, I like this guy's train of thought. I like what he stands for. So I would hit him up. I would post some of his, things that he posts in my stories so people can get a taste and an idea where this young brother's coming from. And we started to connect. From there, we just worked our way, to building a cordial relationship to where he can come on the show and then we can have a conversation about all the things he's been doing online. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show, Cam Ra, a.k.a. King God.
Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's going on, world? Listen, first of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to my brother, my longtime friend, AB Money, for this shirt. Walk with the Legends. Welcome to 90s hip hop. He does concerts down in South Carolina with all the legendary hip hop acts that come down to perform. And this is his brand, one of them, Walk with the Legends. So salute to my brother, AB Money. Thank you for the shirt. I'm repping you tonight. Well, I'm waiting for my guy, Cam Ra, to lock in. Cam Ra, where you at? We waiting for you, brother. See who in the chat. E. Weaver, what's going on? Neil Barrow on the check-in. What's up, fellas? Yeah, I'm waiting for my guy to get on right now, and then we're gonna start the show. Very interesting young brother. He's out of Louisiana, so we going out the state tonight for this one. Once a month, like I said, I'll be going out of the state to tap in with some like-minded people. And tonight is no different. So definitely. Hey, just met Coach Map today. Definitely. Very, very inspirational dude. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Look, I want to thank everybody for the love, who come on the show, who hit me up in the post, DMs, and tell me, how much they like the show, how much they like what's going on. I appreciate you because I do it for you guys. As much as I love doing what I do, I want to make sure that, I do New York City justice. So when I run into my guy, E. Weaver, and see him on the, reffing or just watching the game, he showed me love and he let me know that he loved what I'm doing, and that means a lot. You know what I'm saying? Or I get a text from my guy Neil Barrow every morning, words of inspiration to keep going. Those things mean a lot. Cal, what up? What up, Cal? All Things Hoops is in the building. Yo, Cal, I got that picture for you, so I want to make sure I present it to you in the right way, brother. So I thank you. Cal has definitely been an inspiration and a lot of help on a lot of things that I've been doing with my platform. So I want to say salute to that young brother. So now I'm going to bring my guy, Cam Ra. He is here. What's going on, King?
Peace, G. Peace, coolin', man.
Good. So we got some people pouring in the room slowly. Got my guy Neil Barrow on the check-in, Eric Weaver, and my guy Cal from All Things Hoops is in the building. So,
Right, man. Salute to y'all.
Again, man, what we want to do, we want to tap into early, who you are, what your upbringing was, and then how you navigated through this world being a young brother to be tapping into the knowledge early. Because a lot of kids, a lot of young brothers and sisters aren't at the level where you're at and when you're taking it. So I appreciate you for coming on.
Okay, man. Appreciate you for having me. I got it's a real interesting. I'm saying it from a humble perspective. I'm gonna try to be as humble as possible. But this is a gem that a lot of people really don't know about me. I'm originally from a small village called Palmetto, Louisiana, and it's I guess being well. I am a lot different from a lot of people that my family, friends. The first thing that kind of the thing that kind of stood out for me being different is I came to the planet not liking me. That was one thing about me that kind of stood out. But everything else, I was pretty. I guess that kind of mind state or that whatever that was in me that didn't. Naturally I just didn't like the smell of it. I didn't. That was the best way I could explain it at that age. I didn't like the smell of it. But of course, as time went on, Louisiana being from a family of meat eaters and things like that, I kind of gravitated to it over time. But that was kind of my first initial thing of like after years of me going, through life and kind of getting adapted to the way things are. I kind of just I just kind of did what other people would do. But then like later on in life is kind of when I started gravitating more to the knowledge. But I say that to say like leading up to that point, that's when me starting to reflect back at that, I started to analyze how my thought process was a little bit different from average people that I was around on a day-to-day basis. And like most of my childhood I spent in Palmetto, like I want to say from being born all the way up until maybe like 5 years old. And then like I really I really started like, you know, my parents, they moved to Opelousas. So like that's where my upbringing is at, really. Like I spent most of my childhood years and everything being raised in Opelousas. So that's pretty much a little bit about my background.
Well, that's cool. And look, listen, y'all. When I first invited him on the show, he was like, "Yo, brother, let me brush up on my basketball a little bit before I come on the show." And I'm like, "Yo, I get it. I'm not going to, you know, we're not going to dive too deep in it. But I know you said basketball was your favorite sport, right?
Right, right.
Who introduced you to the game of basketball? Like, not even you playing, but like in just being a fan, watching it and being around it."
My grandfather, and my uncles. My uncles, they kind of, man, they had me playing with paper, you know, balling up the paper ball, you know, and taking a tablet and just ripping up a whole bunch of sheets, cutting out shoe boxes in the house before, you know, when I'm just getting able to walk. So, and then watching them be able to play at that age, watching them play. I mean, you know, we in the country, so that's all we pretty much had, just to run around and find things, invent things, you know. And that inspired me. And also at that age, watching Jordan. I remember just gathering around the whole family. I come from a big family,
Gotcha.
a lot of my grandfather had a lot of kids. He had a lot of kids. So just everybody gathering around and then watching those, you know, Jordan, it was epic in that time period. So this is early 90s.
Listen, I'm glad you got a chance to watch the GOAT because I'm tired of telling people that
Facts,
LeBron is not better than Jordan, and
facts.
you know these new millennium kids. I get it.
Mhm.
LeBron is y'all guy, but if you never had a chance, like my guy Cam, to sit around the television and watch it in full motion and see how he saw
Right,
his greatness, you wouldn't understand. You just can't watch the highlights and say, you know what? I think LeBron is better because you just watch the highlights. You're not understanding the full aspect of what he brought to the game.
nah, man, not at all, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a very special time, man. That's a very special time.
Definitely was,
You know.
definitely.
So now, right? I'm diving right into the pool, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Kyrie Irving real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just switch gears 100 miles per hour right now.
I like it.
Have you been keeping up with the whole Kyrie situation and what happened with him?
Definitely. I might not watch all his games, but I see those kind of, you know, I see the media and what they got going on with that. And I just pretty much um with Kyrie, I like how he stood his ground for as long as, you know, he could. And to me, honestly, his apology, it was more to the people that you know he hurt, or maybe people that really don't understand what he's, you know, what his expression is really about. So I think I mean, I think he did a great job. He didn't over masculate himself, you know, like how they try to project us as you know, black men, black masculine men to be. But he also like he handled it perfect, I would say, in his situation.
Yeah, I just thought the whole situation was unfair, right? But again, when you're trying to awaken the people, which is like their biggest fear, right? Let's talk about what J. Edgar Hoover said early on. I think it was the 50s or 60s when he said, you know, the greatest threat to American sovereignty is the unity of black people,
Right.
right? If people ever woke up and found out who they really were, not only we would be a threat to them because we wouldn't be their robots anymore, their guinea pigs or anything. Anytime they need us to restart the economy, they come
Facts.
right to us, you know. And again, I just think as a whole, if we understood who we were, because we never really got to identify ourselves, right? We went from Africans, right, to niggas, to color people, to black people, back to niggas, and then African Americans.
Right.
So we never really got to identify ourselves. Even on applications, they ask you, are you African American? And then they'll have Native, and people would never check Native. They would never, because they think they're not from here. They think they're from somewhere else.
Right. They put the whole race in just one small category and try to categorize all of us that look like this or look similar to this skin complexion to either black, African American, or every other name that you pretty much said. But in actuality, it's a laundry list of history that comes with it. Some of us from America, and never probably even, everything starts what they would call Africa, or I guess you could say Ptah, when the land was first discovered.
Right. So I'm gonna show you guys something which I never did on here, right? This is my great grandmother. They're from here, the Black Hills of Georgia. We Blackfoot Indian, right?
Yeah, okay.
See that?
Yeah. It was you saying that Opelousas is another name for what they would call Blackfoot or Blackhead.
Really?
Yeah, really. There's no coincidence in the universe.
That's crazy, my brother. And this is my great grandfather.
Wow. And he looks like he could be related to, some of the people in his area.
Yo, listen. As much as I want to think that the universe is not a divine force, right? That brings people together is a reason. Listen, brother, I'm not a scroller. I'm a poster. If people check out my page, I'm a poster. I'm not a scroller. And for me to bump into your page the way I did, I think one of your first posts that I can't remember what the post was, but I put it in my stories. And I don't put just anything in my stories, especially if it has anything to do with basketball. It has to be something that kind of catches my spirit. And when you had put up that post, I was just like, wow, this young brother speaking truth. Show you some love. Then you reply, and we started following each other from there. So I believe the universe is divine and somehow has a way of bringing people together that probably never would have connected if it wasn't from some divine spirit.
Facts. Right,
Yeah,
man.
That is definitely, I believe that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back into basketball. I'm just gonna talk about all sports, right? It's like when you look at sports, we talk about football and basketball, right? And early on baseball, right? Because we dominated that as well until they found out that they go out into the Hispanic countries and get them for way cheaper. Like they're doing our actors and actresses. They going to England to bring them here, right? And then passing them off as Americans. I'm not knocking that. If you can get a job, you can get a job.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is about? Now, I'm asking you this question. I kind of get it, but especially for our audience. Why do you think that they use us as mostly the players and not give us a chance to control?
Because they know to be man, I would say I'm gonna say it just like this, bro. I got a problem with, well, I don't have a problem. I think the world has a problem with people being totally honest. And this is one of the main reasons why I kind of stayed away from like being live. Because sometimes my first mind is not social media savvy, So
yeah.
But to be honest, I think if more players were outspoken, eventually they like the league would be at risk of being taken over by the players. And I think that, you know, that they don't want to give up that. It just is what it is. You know, it's an ego thing. You could tell from the message that they make us put out, or not us, the players. They make the players put out. It's watered down. It's not really from our heritage or our culture. You know, it's kind of like, it kind of has to go with the agenda is.
And agenda is to keep us as workers. You know, going back to the Kyrie situation when you had Charles and Shaq come out, but Kenny Smith said nothing.
Right.
So either somebody knows the truth on that panel, or somebody just decides, you know what, I'm not going to play that game right there and throw this young guy under the bus, where you could have just said nothing. Or the fact that they both called him an idiot means somebody told them what to say. That could have been an option.
Right. Could have came with a bonus. Could have came with a an extra check in the pocket, man.
Now, listen, do you really think that money is the root of all evil?
To a degree. I think the lack of knowledge and people not having confidence and being their own independent entity, I think that could be, our people has been so traumatized from everything, that's happened. Because honestly, I think our people are peaceful people. If it wasn't for the marketing, of what you're seeing in the hip hop industry, or the marketing of don't say what you really feel, get this check, get this bag. Everything is about the bag. So I think that's pretty much my stand on that. I think lack of confidence that we can really stand on our own, 10 toes, 2 feet. I think that's probably a lot of it. It's been like this for so long, so I think they feel defeated. A lot of our people feel defeated.
Listen, as you saying that, right? I'm thinking about the times when and we just talking about American history, right? Because we know we was rulers of the world for so long all over the planet, and there's definitely evidence of that. But when we were here and subjugated to slavery and bondage, once we got free from that situation, people don't realize this is when they started to import European men, right? When we talk about Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty and all those different places where Europeans came in to take up the jobs after we invented and built the nation as it was, but didn't want to give us the position of being the primary workers, because as time went on and we wanted to start to get educated from their perspective, they let I think they let about 1,100 of us, or 1,700, either 1,100 or 1,700 into the schools. It was an experiment to see how many of them would go work for themselves. And then when they saw that only 93 of them went to work for themselves and everybody else went and got jobs with the corporations, and them, they realized that they could win, because as long as we're getting educated by them and then going to work for them, we still in their system. Now, when we was in like Tulsa, Oklahoma, we was in places like North Carolina and different places, Rosewood, Florida, and different places scattered all over the country, when there was Black towns that were self-sufficient. People were educated by people that looked like them. We were the barbers, we were the tailors, we were the dry cleaners. We owned all the businesses in our community,
Mm-hmm.
But what was happening was that our dollar became so powerful that it attracted everybody else to want to split that situation up and have us spend that money with them and dismantle our whole community. And this happened over and over and over. This is why I don't blame, like, you know, I remember at one point I would just point the finger at us to be like, yo, we so stupid, we so crazy. Why are we doing this? Not understanding that there's a heavy foot on our neck, specifically people of color, like a big foot on our neck to keep us from expanding, right?
That's a fact. Yeah. Eventually, you know, that would outweigh the monetary system if it kept going to that point, because then the roles would reverse. You know, like they keep us in these positions because the dominant. I mean, like they say, genetic domination. Like we could not to talk down on any other race, but the level of intellect our people could channel, I would say, you know, and that speaks a whole nother language in itself. Like that a lot of other, you know, races or species of humans, however you want to classify it, they can't keep up with that. In my humblest opinion, you know.
Look, let it don't look, brother. Speaking how it come out, man. It's all good, you know.
Yeah.
We all know the truth behind that. I would give people, right. Check this out, y'all. Well, I think what my young brother's trying to say is that if we have a baby with any other race, that baby is going to come out to be a baby of color, right? So if this happens over a period of time, you can kind of wipe out another race. And if you guys want to get some more knowledge on that, it's a book called The Birth Dearth. You ever heard of that book?
No, I haven't.
Check that book out. And this is something that they knew about for a long time. It's called The Birth Dearth. Check out that book. So what I'm saying is, when we talk about the gun, right? What color is the gun?
Black.
Facts. Here's the penis. The handles the balls, right? They created something to destroy us and everybody else. The same way it's symbolic of the male phallus symbol, which is like the Washington Monument, right?
Yeah.
Which is placed all over our countries, right? It's placed in the Vatican, it's placed in New York. I guarantee you it's some down in Louisiana, New Orleans. It's in our national parks, everywhere, all over the country. And it's not by coincidence. It's not by coincidence. So when I kind of explain that to people, and they sit and they go, that's too deep. But if we look at a lot of things that we know or learn or even notice, it's always connected to something. They didn't just get it out of thin air.
Right. It's
You know?
always connected to something.
Right.
And always, like, I like to on my page or channel, I like to like try to debunk symbolism as much as I can without going, you know, too far. So I would say like everything has double meanings because we live in a dualistic reality. We live in a multiverse, not just a dualistic reality. Whenever you have one thing you're looking at, is also several other different perspectives. Each perspective would be a different universe.
Fact, keep going, brother. I'm not gonna stop. Keep going. Tap in, brother. Tap in. I like you doing one of your posts right now because I know you go deeper than this. Don't.
Yeah.
My guys, my people, my audience can keep up.
Right. Man.
But now we talking about the multiverse, right? Because now they're trying to get us tapped into the metaverse, right? Right. So in order to make that work, what they saw is if you have everybody inside, or if you destroyed the outside, people are stuck in the house and forced to live a different reality.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah. Created reality.
do you think when we dream, right? When we dream, right? Is
Mhm.
are those dreams or is that the other reality where you talked about?
Yeah. I mean, it's several different ways to look at it. To be honest, like that's like you could also travel through different places in a conscious state of mind too, if you that kind of aware. So the dream world, that's just by default. Whenever you go to sleep, it's you're gonna venture off. You might not remember it depending on what your mind state is, but at the same time, you going off to a different state of being, a different realm or a different dimension, what other people would call it. But like I said, you could also be awake in a conscious state of mind. This is why meditation is so powerful, because you could access those realms just through meditation or just being awake. And a lot of people think meditation is something like some kind of shamanistic thing, to where you just gotta just sit there and just be quiet or with your eyes closed, or they think it's some superficial type of act that you gotta perform every time. But in actuality, you could be sitting. I could have been, for instance, take it back to when I was in high school. I could have been on the bus, just looking out the window and in a whole meditative state, while all the kids and everybody else is just jumping around and talking, having conversations with themselves. But that ride could have been so relaxing, or I could have tapped into some kind of energy to where, like, this is putting me into a meditative state of mind, to where nothing else around me is even, it doesn't even exist, because I'm in a whole different dimension right here.
They look, they let's take it back when I was a child, right? The one thing that used to frustrate me when I used to watch television was the commercials. And I'm like that in real life. I hate when I go to a store. I'm not gonna say hate. I dislike when I go to a store and someone is trying to sell me something instead of me making up my own mind of what I want. Right? That's the worst. They just kind of pitch me something and try to make me fit into something that I don't want. Oh, miss, I came here for a size 14, but you're gonna show me a size 13
Right.
because you just want to get the sell-off. So when I was younger and I used to watch my programs, and then when they used to cut into the program and bring the commercial, it used to make me frustrated. And then I got so in tune, because I used to watch television a lot when I was younger. I knew when the commercials were coming, and I would just walk away at that point. Well, I know the commercials coming and come back. But I don't think people realize that TV is for commercials. They just have the shows and the games on there so they can keep you focused on the commercials.
Facts.
People think that the
The show,
television
the
is
commercial.
for the shows. It's actually just for the commercial. And the
Right.
thing that
That's how they.
go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to interject while you're going ahead, but go ahead. I don't want to
No,
cut you.
I just think that, well, I know that they have to tell you what they're doing. So they would name the television Television. They would tell you, but if you're not getting it and you're not picking up on the wordplay, you just think it's just that, right? They got us in the box. The computer that you're looking at and that I'm looking at is a box.
Yeah.
Rectangular, square, whatever you have, right? That same box is in Saturn, right? Brother, we can go there, right? We also sleep in the box, right? Your ceiling is a box, your floor is a box, your four walls is a box. And then they
Right.
sell us Xbox. and not realizing that they trying to keep us in a box.
Facts. Facts, man. Yeah, man. Like I said,
And,
the shows is in between the commercials. They get that's exactly how these networks run off of ads. Just like just like the social medias that we use, they get paid off of ads. So of course, man, that's exactly what it is. There's no other way to put it, man.
look, brother, this rabbit holes go down so far, man. It's just incredible. Where did you get your name, and how did you come up with it? I know it's part of your original name because I saw that in the email. I I didn't want to disrespect you. Be like, yo, what's your name, right? Because look, I have a friend. My friend is Big Daddy Kane, right? One of my guys in the music industry, legendary hip hop act.
Yeah.
He don't care if you know him from high school. If you know him from high school, you call him the name that you know him in high school, he'll tell you, nah, my name is Big Daddy Kane. So please call me that.
Right.
How did you come up with the name Cam Ra, aka King God?
I really to be honest, it was just like a breakthrough. Just like with if you go to my Instagram, it's Cam3Rock33. It all came to me just whenever I came back to that, I would say my God body self, or that awakening, that spiritual awakening, people would say. And it made sense. I also just following a few master teachers. This would kind of introduce me to certain information that kind of just resonated with me. It's something like with my mom. I'm gonna say my mom. She's like she's the namer in the family. If you familiar with people, like, I mean, if you like I would say like indigenous or ancient or even tribal names. Like they always had one person out of the family who named, like, who everybody would go to for names. So she was the namer. And whenever it kind of resonated with me, whenever that came about, I was like, for some reason, Cam Ra, it just sat with me. As and then also I would say I would have to give a kudos to Nazir Rock. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him and his teachings. Yeah, I ran across his information, and I mean, he had some powerful works, man. I want to say he's from out of Atlanta, and that kind of stuck with me. So he kind of introduced me to who Rock was and things of that nature. So it kind of just stuck with me from there. And the number 333 is what I was seeing a lot throughout my awakening stages, I would say. And at this time period, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of heavy information was being laid on me. I was dealing with like sickness. I had like ulcers. I had a lot of allergies and stuff. So like it had something to do with like a part of my healing process. It brought me back to my state from that. Like I said, from my younger childhood age, I really didn't care for meat. It made me start looking back on those days and why maybe I was like how I was and what type of mind state I was at. Because in that mind state, I was like, I had a more natural mind state. Like I thought, as a kid, you have a huge imagination.
Yes.
I started and it started like everything started coming back to me in steps and stages and telling me, my spirit was telling me pretty much like why these things was happening. Certain things in my life was just moving around, and it made total sense. And like I say, studying and just following like different master teachers and reading my own literature, it kind of just stood out, man. It made sense.
No, I get it. When we're children, our imagination is so powerful, right? And And now I find out, since I've been in education for a long time, that kids don't want to use their imagination.
Facts.
So the stuff that they think is real is fake, and the stuff that they think is fake is real. I'll be in the room with a bunch of teenagers, and I go, just imagine you as this, and they be like, that's corny. But it's because the world has prepared them or told them that it wasn't a cool thing to do, because they're getting all this other information from other places instead of their mind, and let their minds travel and wander, right? And dream and manifest things into reality, where they're stuck looking at this black mirror, as we call it.
Right. Hey, and I wanna add on to this too, because my name, like my original name, Cameron, is another name for a lot of people call Kemet Cam.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know, Kemet is another name for black.
Facts.
Right? Black sun. It's pretty much just like and I think that's a representation of Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness, the pretty much just coming back forward and owning up to, what we trying to move forward as a people, and put our stamp on the world.
So let me tell you, Cam, when I was coming up, and rest in peace to my moms, in my household and in my family household, we had the white Jesus on the wall, right?
We did. We from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana, man. They still probably on the wall. A lot of my people out.
Yo, bro. So I asked my coworker, who's a Caucasian man, and I asked him. I said, "Yo, question: would your parents allow, or would your parent, if Jesus was black, right? Hit him with that. Would your parents put him on their wall?" And he was just like, and my guy, he's a very open-minded dude, very cool gentleman. But I'm glad he was honest, because sometimes it just made me reflect on my childhood and the limited knowledge that my mom had at the time, because we can't sit and blame our parents. It was their limited knowledge that they had and what was put onto them, right? And once you see that, you just feel, well, this is all we know, and this is what was taught to us, and that's it. Not knowing that it's a consciousness.
Right. A lot of people I notice on their journey, they kind of struggle with that. Like whenever the beginning stages of the journey, anyways. Because I dealt with it heavy, I learned all this information, and like I said, from self-reflection from the past, I was able to look back, but I like it for me to come back and tell everybody how I feel and learn all this kind of information that never really felt the way I felt. It's kind of hard to break that process. And even though we might not agree with that portion of what they believe in, you still gotta love these people because they love you. They put a lot of stuff on the line for your whole lifestyle. So that's what I would say for people on a beginner's journey, to have an open mind about that as well, because a lot of people get caught up in that kind of I guess you say crossfire, and they don't they start breaking ties with family members that actually really care about them, that would help them.
Yeah, look, everybody who knows me, my very close friends, my family, my coworkers, they all know my mind state. They know you can't just tell me anything.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times when they're arguing over something, I had some former students call me last week because they were arguing about a situation. It was like, yo, if anybody know, Mr. Glenn knows, so they had called me, and I just thought that was pretty cool. But I've learned to kind of flip everything that I was taught. Like anything that was taught to me, I just turn it around, right? So let me give you a breakdown of my awakening. I'm top 100 player in the country. I have to go to prep school because my grades are not up to par. And I go to the school, Maine Central Institute. And there, I'm just a kid from New York City in Pittsfield, Maine. Predominantly white town. I actually live with a white family, the Kingsburys, who I love dearly to this day. Very great people. But what I was exposed to by a young man there who came from a well-to-do family, he was much richer than I am monetarily, right? But as I was explaining that to him, he was telling me I was richer than him, and I didn't get it, right? And I was like, I'll trade places with you in a minute. He said, really? He said, think about what you're saying. And I think this guy was younger than me at the time. He was 16, 17. And I just couldn't fathom me being richer than him, knowing his background and all the material things he had at the time. In 1987, 88, he had a phone in his room, being a high school kid, a landline. Like, that's just crazy. So
I know.
Well, anyway, he put a dime, nickel, quarter, and a penny, and lined them up. And he asked me, "What do I see?" I said, "Money." He said, "All right, Glenn. Now we know it's coins, which is money, which you could spend for something. But tell me, what do you see?" And I'm looking at the penny. I said, "Okay, one is brown, and the other's a silver." He said, "Okay, it's cool. Keep looking." Why are you telling me this, fam? Like, keep looking at the coins. Oh, why all the presidents got their back to Lincoln? Lincoln is facing one way, and all the other three presidents is facing another way.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm not even getting to the whole slavery thing, right? Let's just say the fact that he was making me notice something that I never noticed in the money that I had in my pocket every day.
Right.
And then he pulled out a dollar bill and he started breaking down the dollar. And I was like, yo, what is all this supposed to mean? Just give me the money, fam. Who cares about that? He said, all right, Glenn, check this out. You're richer than me, but you don't get it. He said, call your mother. I said, for what? He said, just call your mother for me. So, cool. I need to call my mom's anyway. So, called my mom's, told her I loved her. Hung up the phone. And he said, watch this. He tried to get in contact with his parents.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I was there on a scholarship, everything paid for. Meanwhile, his parents was paying for everything. Right? And they shipped him off to boarding school. He never got in contact with his parents.
Wow.
He said I would trade all the money in the world if I could speak to my parents the way you just could call your mother. So understand you're richer than I am, but you don't know it yet.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful, man. You see, a lot of us kind of overlook those small things, you know. It's the simplest things that really make us rich. And I was telling one of my, I guess you could say one of my younger family members, I was breaking down to him the Western world rich versus, you know, what rich really means. And it's the simplest things, man. And now, like I've come to this state of consciousness and being, I've allowed myself to experience that, you know, especially with my seed, because you know, I had one of my parents worked a whole lot. So, but at the same time, he was there. You know what I'm saying? I can't really say too much about that, but I know how it feels. You know, I know how it feels somewhat.
The connection with parent and child is so important, and we don't realize that the fact that money was created out of thin air, because our money's not backed by anything. This is the reason why we're in the situation we're in today.
Facts.
Right? The fact that we all agree on it, and that people could put up their real physical labor and hard work to build something that's tangible and real, and somebody could give you some money printed out of thin air. So they could give you something, actually, they give you nothing for something.
Facts.
You know, what do you think now, young King? Our days are named after all what we would call gods, right?
Right.
From Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we go on Thursday, right? Our months are off, right? Because Set is 7, Oct is 8, right? And we go on Nov, right? 9, right? And we go on and on and on and on. But yet, September is the 9th month. November is, right? The 11th. It got it all twisted up, right? All these things are so twisted and out of whack that we have no idea what time and space is. And time only exists because we work.
Right. I would say it's pretty much what you're seeing with the Balenciaga thing. You have like a lot, they market this type of stuff to us, but then we really don't know the real meaning or real understanding. We just blindly go with it. And I think that you know, like a lot of people worship guys that they don't really understand. And if you really look at it, like if you really break down the majority, we live in a Christian state country. So if Lucifer was the morning star and as well as Jesus. And a lot of people look at Lucifer as what you would call Satan or Set. And Set was the god of confusion. So that's what I think a lot of it is, you know, it's chaotic and it's confused. They take what we would call chaos to make order out of things. They would take the chaotic thing and really make it chaotic. Like, you know, do a lot of just pretty much low vibrational stuff to hide it in plain sight, and then show us a whole different thing. And whenever the sun come up, then it's like it never existed.
Tap into that Balenciaga thing. Go into it so people can understand what was really going on in that photo with that child.
Man, I would say with it, like I did a remix, a post on my Instagram today, and I would say it has a lot to do with us not understanding symbolism, because the truth has always been in plain sight. It's just we just blindly, like I said, turn the blind eye because, oh yeah, it's the drip, it's the cool thing. So Balenciaga, then you got Disney. You know, Disney was a whole nother thing. I just watched a recent video. Like, you know, it's a whole tons of breakdowns that we could go in. That could be a whole nother show.
I want to go into the Balenciaga thing, and then we're gonna get into the Disney thing. You talking about when they was holding up the sign cards, right?
No, what I was actually talking about, the latest one I seen was a Mickey Mouse cup.
Oh, the Wicked.
wicked. Yeah.
Facts.
That's a whole nother thing. That's just small examples, man. We could, like I said, we could do a whole nother show on just that. But it's a lot of that out there. But people, like I said, for me to really break it down, I would have to put down a whole show of understanding symbolism and science. Because there's a lot of ancient symbols that our people, we never created these entities that is being praised and whatnot in other cultures, and they forcing it on us.
Well, the Balenciaga thing had not only it had some what do you call that, the BDS, the what's that word that they use, right, when the kids, the adults be having on the straps and the things in their mouths and the whips and all that, right?
So dominatrix,
Yeah, right. It has some dominatrix thing with the little bear, but also it had the letter, right? The court letter, when we talking about grown men being able to marry children, right? They had that court case in there, right? They have
right?
all of these symbolism in that photo, but if you just looking at it just from your naked eye, let me just show you something real quick. If anybody ever saw this. Tell me what you see.
All right, I see the number 87, which would equal 6. And LeBron, of course. And I see perfect dressing for every shape from size 0 to 16. I'm looking at the symbolism.
Right.
Yeah.
But look at the top of his head though.
Right, the horns.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
The things going on.
Right. So just in that alone, when I show people like these things be right in front of your face, and people have no clue what the hell is going on. They just look at him, having the model in his hand and got his mouth open like King Kong, like he a gorilla. That's one thing, right? And then a number 87 there, right in plain sight. And then they got the horns coming out of his head, with got him under the O and the G.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So these are the things that's kind of in plain sight that people have no idea what's going on in that aspect of
Right.
it,
And that's how it could get confusing because like the horns in African tribal culture, is a representation of something totally different. And they flip our stuff and then confuse us. Like I said, we in a time of sick. So they confuse us to run away from our own intellect, our own cultures.
And then call it pagan, right?
Right.
Paganism.
Demonize it.
Right. Like what they do with voodoo.
Facts. I'm glad you said that because I'm about to do something heavy on that soon too.
Just give people an idea of what voodoo is, because a lot of our people are so scared when they hear these things because of what they hear on television and what they see in movies and that nature.
All right, without I'm gonna just go without going too heavy into it. Voodoo was I guess you could say the stamp on. They took voodoo because it was so popular, the name of it, and they put a negative connotation on it to erase all our spiritual systems. So if it meant, like, for instance, there's a lot of people come from indigenous heritages.
Yep.
Like what they would have considered spirituality wouldn't have been necessarily called voodoo, but it all pretty much had the same moralities and principles and same ideologies. It was just different deities. So what they did with voodoo was whenever they said, "Oh yeah, voodoo is bad," they label voodoo as witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
They label voodoo as satanic, devil worship, and then that kind of just killed everything that went along with that, like your Rishas, your Apollos, your all of those spiritual systems. So and that's what that was, man.
That's crazy. Now, where do you get your activism from? And tell me about some of the things that you advocated for in your community.
Well, right now my community has a lack of knowledge and help. So right now I got my Black Sun products, health food products line. Well, I sell a lot of sea moss gel. I also have another product. It's called Smack X. And another thing was real popular out here. It's called Mongolian tea. I also sell that, and I'm just pushing that forward. I'm using that to be my vehicle to, bring a health conversation in my area, because it's not really many of me out here. Like I know people that push health nutrition, I mean like natural remedies and whatnot, but at the same time they'll go get the vaccine. Like so, my bad for the jab, whatever.
Right.
But they'll be on that kind of time. And me, I got total faith in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother, she didn't call it Mongolian tea. She called it bitter tea. And then by coincidence, like I never was introduced like Mongolian tea by none of my elders. It just kind of came to me like on my journey. And then whenever I started speaking of it, then my elders started saying, "Hey, that's what your mama used to call bitter tea." So obviously she was connected with me some kind of way, and that's pretty much, that's, like I said, that's my vehicle I'm using to navigate this health information to the people in my community.
Did you hear about this bill that they're trying to get rid of all natural products?
Yeah, I heard about it. And to be honest, like I think that could only exist in a certain realm. Like it's an idea, but in this physical reality, I think it's impossible. Because they would, at that point, whoever's trying to ban it, they would be doing themselves a disservice. I think it's just a lot of hype, a lot of fear mongering, to be real.
Makes sense. So, do you feel that that America give people of color their leaders, far as we go back, and it's not to knock Martin Luther King, right? Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and all these other people who they put up in our face to have them represent Black people as a whole all across the country. Or do you think it's people that we kind of agree with? Do you think they're put in front of us so we can follow them, or do you think it's the latter?
My honest opinion on that is, on a mainstream network, like I don't see them putting man, here's a shout out, red pill, blue pill. Like, even though I would love to see those fellas on there, like, we would all like to see those. I got a few other names. I could go a laundry list of names. But one of my favorite teachers is Bobby Hemming. And I would say, like what he said, like if you on this kind of time and you're not really kind of pretty much what Kyrie was speaking up on. Like if we was to come and really like confidently start speaking about what we feel, the knowledge we learn, they would start pulling the plugs like they doing a lot of people on just I see a lot of people lives getting cut up, from whenever they speaking to real. So a lot of that would happen.
I tell people all the time, if they give them a voice on television, don't believe them. I
Don't
don't
believe.
care. I don't care who it is. I don't care who you see on television. If they give them time to talk on television, don't believe or trust them.
Right, right. What they selling?
No matter how radical they sound.
Right. What they selling?
They're always selling something. They're always selling something. Now, I sent you a video of my guy Papa Duck. I love this young brother and what he stands for and how he constantly trying to open up the people's minds. And he had a video in there about them creating android humans and putting human consciousness in the androids. Did you see that? And it's a whole company selling these
Right.
fake humans.
Yeah, that's something like pretty much what was on Black Mirror. It's something else I watched like that too. That's not coming to mind, but that's what's going on, man. That's what's really happening.
They tell you. You got to understand. They tell you. They put it in the shows, right? We think if we watch the news, we're being informed. So they flipped it, right? They put it in the movies because we think we're being entertained, but actually they putting the truth in the movies when your antennas are down and you relax. But then when your antennas are up and you watching the news,
See,
they're
when
not
you
telling you anything.
of existence, you got to put it out. If you want to tell the truth, you got to put it in a satirical type of form. You have to you got to change it. You got to change the narrative to make it look like something else. You know, it can't never be what it is. Like I said, there's always has to be a state of confusion. So it keeps the watcher or the viewer into a like they don't really know. Or they would think, or they would mislead them to believe. They would mislead them to believe that it could be fiction, or they label it as fiction.
Do you think that's by design? Do you, right? And I feel that they have to tell us the truth. I don't know if it's in their contract that they have or with the consciousness that they have, as long as they tell us, and again, we have to agree to it.
Right. It definitely is. It's definitely by design.
Now, when we talking about being a health advocate for your community and getting people mindset switched to different kinds of food, it wasn't until I guess the pandemic hit and I kind of switched up my diet and cutting out meat and all of those things. And I've never read more ingredients like I do now than I did ever before in my life. I used to never read the ingredients. I would look at it and say to myself, damn, if I can't pronounce any of the words in these ingredients, why am I eating this and putting this stuff in my body?
Right.
Do you find when you was at your crossroads and changing your diet, was you doing some of the similar things that I just explained?
Definitely was. It definitely was. I was this would have to been in about 2016. I hadn't fully like I said, I adapted into eating meat like over the times. But whenever I got to like 26, I had like I said, I accumulated a few health issues. So then I started to understand like what people were saying about reading labels. Like I had just started. I always been a person that kind of been ahead of what normal society was doing. I would always see the cracks in different things, and I would see the potential in where we going at with certain things. So I wanted to be the first person. Like, oh, okay. Like I started to run across Dick Gregory at that time period. And him talking about I always remember in movies like House Party and whatnot, they always be like, man, whenever they see somebody drinking something green, they like, man, you on that Dick Gregory. I ain't never knew who that was.
Right.
I never knew who that was prior to actually finding out who Dick Gregory was and why they were saying it. So whenever I ran across him, then he started to break down certain things. I can't remember what the first thing he said, but I know it kind of caught my attention because at the time, whenever I was having health issues, I was overweight, and my whole life pretty much I had been skinny. You know what I'm saying? And then when I got 18, that's when I started eating. I hadn't ate pork for the first time. Well, no, I take that back. I take it back. But I haven't ate pork chops for the first time until I was 18.
Yeah,
I hadn't
yeah.
ate a beef steak for the first time until I was 18. Like, I had hamburgers and hot dogs and whatnot. But at the same, and we got in Louisiana, our culture is boudin and sausage,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Of course, that was the only times I was dabbling into eating pork or beef. Other than that, it was nothing but chicken or fish, stuff like that for me. That was the only thing I could really stomach at that time period. Until I got 18, whenever I got on my own. And then I was like, I'll be hanging around my cousins and stuff. They cooking. It ain't nothing else. There's a lot of cooking out here. That's what people do for hobbies. Like, so people get a black pot. They cook outside, and it was pork and whatnot over there. So I started trying it. So after I ran across Dick Gregory, and he, his message about pork and eating beef and things like that, it kind of changed my perspective, and it kind of made me prior to that, I never really thought about eating healthy food. It could affect my health. Like, I never understood that. And whenever he kind of broke that down, it kind of changed my whole perspective. And I was like, you know what? I never had nobody tell me to try eating healthy before, besides the doctor whenever I go visit him. And that was it. So I was like, let me try this just to see if it's gonna work. And if it'll work, I could tell everybody else that's around me it worked for me.
No, that's real. I think it was around 2015, 16 when I actually started to shed the pounds that I had because this was me.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't until 2020 when I cut out meat. I was never really a pork eater, and I only ate pastrami, the real pastrami, because
Yeah.
I love cat sandwiches. But it was just basically a lot of chicken, turkey burgers. Love turkey burgers. I would eat turkey burgers from anywhere. Turkey meat and fish.
Yeah.
And then I started cutting out all of those things probably like a year and a half ago, 2 years. And it's worked for me. I had my ACL used to give me problems. Hurt my knee in college, and my knees used to swell up because of the inflammation. I had acid reflux and all those things going on, and I just got tired of the pain, and I needed to make a switch. And once I made the switch, the pounds came off, the inflammation went away. I haven't had stomach problems like I used to. So we can kind of heal ourselves, and the white coats don't want us to do that.
Right.
Early on when, when I was doing my studying and I realized how the Rockefeller Foundation took over all 9 aspects of our life. And if you want to know, is a documentary for all those people out there that's watching this or that's going to watch this. It's called A Corporation. It's long. It's about 5 hours long, but you can watch it in segments.
Yeah.
And you will understand this whole scenario that we're in. And it kind of gives us a whole breakdown of who runs all the industries and why they run all the industries. And in 1902, a lot of the Fortune 500 companies that's still around to this day that run things, a lot of them changed their names. They were started in 1902.
Yeah.
A very, very pivotal year. And then in 1912, they got in 1912, 13. That's 1912, the Titanic, right? You know a story about the Titanic,
Right. Yeah, definitely.
right? And as what we call Jekyll Island and the things that happened there. Those people that want to know more about that, some more research for you, some fun things to look up for yourselves. How our money system was created. So is the IRS, so is the ADL, and a slew of other organizations that was created around that time to kind of take the power away from the people and to put us in a situation that we're in now, where they're trying to come up with their own cryptocurrency. Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah, fact. Yeah, I invested into that. Yeah.
I'm talking about the government's cryptocurrency, where they can track everything that you do. It's called CBDC,
Yeah.
Central Bank Digital Coin,
Right. Yeah. I seen
right?
that along. Yeah, like pretty much what you saying all the way up until this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So those just things just for us to look forward and to seeing in the future, because if the people kind of wake up, hopefully we can derail this consciousness that's going on and this timeline to where we could kind of get things working in our favor. But the only way this can happen if we kind of wake up and see what the hell is going on.
Right. Right. Yeah. And we could be like I say, I invested in it because I was, at that time whenever I started a lot earlier than a lot of people, but I also started a lot later than a lot of people. But at the same time, like along that journey, I was just throwing eggs in a basket, hoping I probably just be like the next person to spike up off it. But as you go along that journey, you start to realize that it's nothing different from, really paper currency. Actually, it's probably somewhat worse, because it's a traceable system, and you could get hacked in systems like that,
Yeah, or be in a situation where you're in a social credit system and you say or do something they don't like, and they're taking money out your account, which you have no idea, or can stop you from purchasing things that they don't want you to purchase.
Right. Facts.
Well, listen, brother, listen. We're gonna give you this time to kind of plug anything that you got going on. Tell people your Instagram page, where they can find you, and if they want to purchase some of your CMOS and some of your products, give them that information right now so those people can contact you and support you any kind of way that you need them to.
Right. Yeah. Cam Ra on Cam3, Ra33 on Instagram and TikTok. All on YouTube. You can check me out at Cam Ra's Top Network. That's CAM''RAS Top Network, spelled regular. And yeah, that's pretty much. Oh yeah, www.blacksunproducts.net. That's spelled just like how it is. Just like
Hold on. Say that again. Hold on. Say that again. www.
.blacksunproducts.net.
.me.
.net. .net.
.net. Got you. I'm gonna put that up for you right now.
I also got some more t-shirts that's coming out at Immortal_Evolutions. So just be on the lookout for them. Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine t-shirts.
No doubt. Just definitely send them to me, and I'll make sure that people get
Right.
a broad's eye view of what you got going on. But listen, this ain't gonna be the last time. This is gonna be the first of many. And like I told you, I'm going to we're gonna have a little round table discussion. Gonna bring on my guy Paul Ruddock, another like-minded gentleman, and open up the services for other people to kind of join in, and maybe we could have some callers call in and ask some questions, because I think this is a lot of things that people kind of need to know. Bring my guy Darnell Williams, and all these guys are ball players who kind of into the consciousness and know what's going on. But I just want to say, man, thank you, man. It was a pleasure chopping it up with you, getting to know your upbringing. I was so interested in how you came up with your name, because I think, you know, your name kind of represents who you are, and can give people an understanding of where you want to go, since you created your own name, or it was given to you by your elder, right?
I would say a higher source.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So again, man, any last words from the people before we get out of here?
Nah, man, appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate you having me. And like you said, it's not the last time. We definitely gonna be back.
For sure, for sure. Yo, listen, to all my people out there, I definitely like to you know, commend this young brother, because I like to shed light on the next generation doing what they have to do, to have an open mind and to see the world differently, because that's what it's about. He's from Louisiana. He's not from New York City, people. So I understand y'all hearing his deep accent. He's from, I have a niece that lives out in Louisiana as well. So salute. I love you, Patricia. She's out there as well with her family. And, you know, my brother and his wife has some land down in New Orleans. So we kind of connected. We probably have some of the same people in line and don't even know it.
Right.
No doubt. All right. So peace, young king. I'm going to holler at you, man, and stay up.
For sure, bro. Appreciate you having me.
No doubt. Do my closing remarks. And listen, listen, I'm just going to let y'all know this right off the bat. Y'all, every now and again, y'all get to see another side of me. It's more than basketball. It's actually bigger than basketball. I understand a lot of these subjects and topics are very touchy for some people. I understand a lot of people don't like to walk down this road. But these are the things that I think that needs to be touched on. And we just scratching the surface. I didn't really go real deep down the rabbit hole on you guys and girls. We just touched on a few subjects. But I believe if you're going to live in this world that we live in, you have to understand where you are. And a lot of people don't understand that you're not in the place that you think you are. I'm going to say that again. You're not living in the place that you think you're living in. There's so many different sides of this world that we live in. And this, you know, sports is just a small part of it. But I'm glad for you guys and girls who tapped in. I appreciate all of you. I'm glad that you was able to join us tonight. Again, my name is Glenn Pooh Harding, and you've been watching Basketball Heads Live, the podcast on NYC Basketball Network. We still got that merch, baby. All right? Still got the polo shirts. I know it's the winter time. I'll be having new hoodies coming in soon. Having some coats coming soon. So y'all just stay tuned and keep watching and keep supporting the #1 basketball show in New York City. Peace.